there beside that cleaning solution is our filtration medium, and you want to make sure to have lots and lots of those and make sure that they're clean and ready to go. It's better to do it at the beginning of the season than prepare at the end. As much as you want to, prepare stuff ahead of time, it's better to keep it as clean as possible and just do it quick. With laundry, at the beginning of each season, do everything at once and then put them in tins or containers like this, and so that way you're ready to go. That's pretty much the idea for a lot of things. It's just prepare ahead of time. Anticipate what you're going to need and what kind of challenges you might anticipate, and cut them off at the head right then and there before they become a problem. Packing down the trail, make sure you have lots of snowshoes. Get yourself a nice satchel. Put all your taps in there, your wires, your wire cutters, an extra pair of gloves, maybe a little hammer, I don't know. Do whatever works for you, but you get what I'm saying. Get organized. Get everything you need and get rid of everything else. That is because I got a new scope for my Savage Arms Model 42, which is actually right here. And I am going to try and sight it in today if I have time. I love this thing. It's great. If you haven't tried it, it's an over-under combo. 22 on the top and 412 on the bottom. So it's fun. Lots of plinking fun. But I finally got a red dot, so got to dial that in. But yeah, keep notes. Keep lots of notes. I have to remind myself of that all the time because I'm not great at doing that myself unless it's work related. But treat it the same way as your work. And finally, there's some Cat 6 because I'm going to run it all the way to the house so I can actually work out of here and have the best connection possible. Also extend my network through another router. So there's that. That's basically going to follow, even though you're not supposed to put, your network cables next to power lines or power cables. I don't think it's going to matter for this application. So one other thing I've noticed is that it helps to adjust the flue here. Not the flue, damper. And put it on just a very slight angle like this. Not straight up, not sideways obviously because that would close it, but just on a very slight angle towards that side. And I find that it helps with the draw and keeps some of the fire more inside and doesn't just shoot right out, Beautiful day out there. It's the first day where the weather has really picked up. It's getting really nice now. And, it should stay above 0 and freeze at night still for a good month or month and a half yet to come. There's a photo of my grandfather who passed away this year. May he rest in peace. And he is tapping all the maples that his heart desires. We found some horseshoes after we moved here. I think they may have been from another place that we had, but we put them up, and I think my grandfather actually had some from before, and we had put them, this way, the other way, upside down. And he said that would bring bad luck because you're basically emptying your bucket, so to speak, instead of opening it up to the sky, to the world, right? And allowing everything to come in. You're dumping it out, so to speak. So ever since then, I always put my horseshoes facing up like a cup, catching everything you can. It makes sense. And then finally, I got my Ryobi speaker up there. Don't forget to keep yourself entertained. Got my maple syrup for tasting. Some adapters, pictures, ways of cleaning up and sampling and handling the pans and the plates. But that's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot to this maple syrup thing. You just need the right setup, and you need the patience to get it done and tough it out throughout the year, because it is tough. It is not easy by any means, but certainly a labor of love, that's for sure. Really not much to it, like I was saying. Just keep adding more ice, boiling it off, melting it, and then filtering it, putting it in the middle pan to boil it up and evaporate it for good. Well, that was interesting. Hope you enjoyed the time lapse. We boiled off everything except for the 3 new buckets that we just picked up. So we're at 14 buckets total since we started collecting a few days after the 6th. So let's call it a week or so. We've collected 14 buckets. It's not too bad. And that'll boil down to, well, 50-to-1 ratio, so divided by 50. Okay, managed to melt down all 14 buckets, filtered them all out. I just finished cleaning the second pan. I'm going to put that back on and continue the boiling process, but now with 3 pans, so we've just tripled the productivity as soon as I get that last pan on there. This is obviously not the way you want to do things, but when you're in a pinch, you've got no choice, so it is what there you have it. There's not much more to it than that. I got to take the foam off here, obviously. But otherwise, it's just boiling it off, boiling it off. We've got 2 more buckets to add here. Collecting the foam and as I've mentioned many times on my channel, the reason that I do this, I don't know if there's really any science behind it. I'm sure there is to a certain degree. This is just the way that I've been taught, is that a lot of the particulates get caught up in the foam, so by taking the foam out, you're kind of taking out some of those contaminants. It almost serves as an intermediary filtration process before you do your, or after you do your first filtration, and then before you do your second. It's kind of a half step. Gives you something to do as well, and I find that it makes a higher quality syrup that's clearer, that tastes better, and it's much sweeter as well. I know plenty of people that don't do this process, and that's fine. Depending on your particular application or your setup, maybe it doesn't make sense to do that. That's totally fair. You gotta really do what's best for you in your own particular setup, and that can be said for a lot of things. So this is what works for me, and I have a lot of fun doing it, so I'm gonna keep doing it, and I'm gonna keep doing it old school. Another thing I've discussed a few times as well is where to stop, where to draw the line and say I've had enough, it's too much for me. Approaching the scale perhaps of a medium to large scale production, maybe that's not for you. There's the question of, do you go to the tubes as well? Do you have a vac system bringing all the sap into your sugar shack? That's another option. For me, 50 trees, including the silver maples. I'd like to get to 50 hard maples, that would be great, but 50 trees total, which would probably be in excess of 100 buckets, easy. That's a lot, and that's probably where I would personally draw the line, but every maple syrup producer has to decide that for themselves. A lot of it depends on the size of your property, how many trees you have, obviously, the quality of your trees, the time of the year, the season, how good of a season it is. A lot of factors go into it, so but you can't get caught up in too much of the analysis and science of it, because that sort of spoils the fun of it all and the discovery. You could read a million different articles online, and they'll give you great tips, but nothing beats being in here in the shack and actually doing it for yourself and discovering those little inefficiencies that you need to work on, and discovering also what works for you and doing more of that. So that's pretty much it. We'll leave it at that for now. This is going to continue to boil down. Maybe I'll do a few more time lapses, and we'll do another quick video at the end tonight whenever we finish this off and get it done. I expect this to boil these other 2 buckets for another 4 to 5 hours easy, so it won't be till this evening, probably 7, 8, 9 o'clock, that we'll take this off and filter it one last time, and then probably bring it in the house and finish it on the stove. Maybe even a 3rd or 4th filtration process. I like my syrup to be nice and clear and very top-notch quality, so first batch of the season is always the best as well, so we don't want to waste a single drop. So anyway, that is it for today, my friends. Thank you so much for watching. Please join me again next time when we do more of this maple syrup stuff and other things on Maple Grove Farm. Take care, be well. See you next time.